when we came in. It was within the first month of us being in office. The intelligence services came to us and told us, can we turn the servers back on?
Yes.
The intelligence services came to the Honorable Attorney General, the Minister of National Security, and myself, and said, can we turn the servers back on? We asked them, what are you talking about? And we were told by the intelligence services of Trinidad and Tobago that those, unfortunately, on the other side, not in this house today, gave instructions to take the servers off of the machinery being used by the intelligence services. How do you fight crime if you're not able to detect it before it is happening? We were shocked about that. They then told us that there was facial recognition software in Trinidad and Tobago. And again, in the period 2010 to 2015, it was dismantled and destroyed at the instructions of a very high-ranking member of the People's Partnership Cabinet. Let the people of Trinidad and Tobago know these things. These are facts. Another issue we faced is the prison system that the Honourable Member for Superior spoke about. And hearing that there are conversations taking place between prisoners and those on the outside, and hits being called from inside. It is not rocket science. Where are the grabbers and jammers?
Where were they?
So we asked that question, and the Honourable Member for St. Augustine can tell the country that he was responsible for the procurement of grabbers and jammers to prevent this from taking place. And you know what we were told, Mr. Deputy Speaker, again? That instructions came, and I'm sure the Honourable Member for St. Augustine didn't even know this, that those who sat around a table with him were undermining what he was trying to do in the prison service. So don't stand here today or on any other day. Don't stand here today or any other day and tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago that crime goes up under a PNM government. This is what we faced within the first couple months of coming into government. Immediately we moved to get them out of the boxes and to get them operationalized to assist in the fight against crime. Another thing we were told when we came in, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is the utilization of audio and visual recording equipment for the police service in recording statements from persons who are accused of crime. And why that wasn't being used? Well, we did it. At the National Security Council level, we did it. And these are just some of the first few elements we faced as a government coming in. So for 5 years, porous borders. For 5 years, the dismantling of the intelligence equipment, the facial recognition equipment, the grabbers and jammers. Mr. Deputy Speaker, another important issue that the people of Trinidad and Tobago should know about is what they did. They bastardized, criticized SWAT, which was doing a very good job. But let me tell you what happened. We were told by the Special Forces of Trinidad and Tobago that certain members of the cabinet, of that cabinet, went up to their camp and told them, put all of your equipment into a warehouse. Certain members of the former cabinet went and dismantled the equipment being used by the Special Forces of Trinidad and Tobago. I look at the shocked faces of some of the members opposite who were sitting at cabinet, and their faces show to me here, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that they did not even know some of their colleagues were doing this. They took the equipment from the Special Forces of Trinidad and Tobago, put it in a warehouse, and it was only post-September 2015 they were allowed back in, and it had rotted. Tens of millions of dollars of equipment.
That's true.
Let me tell you what else they did, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Certain members of that cabinet went to get blue lights.
Yeah.
They took the vans and the vehicles from SWAT and they took them, and look, Naparima, I want the people of Trinidad and Tobago to listen to him. Naparima has just said yes, but we reduce crime. They produce porous borders, destroy the equipment.
They increase crime.
I'll come into that.
Member, address the chair. Silence.
Thank you very much. 2 years later, I'll tell you what we've done. They will also, the country of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and every civic-minded citizen of Trinidad and Tobago will recall the state of emergency. A state of emergency was called. We, Trinidad and Tobago, and every tax-paying member of Trinidad and Tobago citizen are now faced with tens of millions of dollars that may run up into hundreds of millions of dollars of claims by those who were held under a state of emergency called by the former administration. And we wrote when we came in, because we're faced with these claims now. They call a state of emergency. To this day, the country has not been provided with a satisfactory answer as to why there was a state of emergency. They say they reduced crime. We are now faced with hundreds of millions of dollars of claims, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And when we wrote to the former Prime Minister and the former Attorney General, because under the Constitution, those two posts constitute a cabinet. A Prime Minister and Attorney General are all that are necessary constitutionally in Trinidad and Tobago to compose a cabinet. And when we wrote to them to say, provide us with the reasons for the state of emergency so we could defend the treasury of Trinidad and Tobago against persons who are now claiming against Trinidad and Tobago, we have received no response. So we go to court on a weekly basis, trying to defend claims and failing. And that lies on their lap. So don't come here now and try and bring a motion like this and talk about the anti-crime plan. That's an anti-crime plan. No OPVs, destroy intelligence equipment, unplug servers, get rid of facial recognition servers, bring the special forces equipment into a warehouse, take all the blue light vehicles, grabbers and jammers left in a box, unfortunately, St. Augustine. DNA was an operation. We sat here in this parliament and supported it. That is another point, Mr. Deputy Speaker, if you would permit me.